Hi, everyone. I hope this new week is going on well. Uh, Welcome to week 14 for this lecture. Week 14. We are going to be looking at contemporary issues in psychological assessment. Contemporary issues. We are going to look at technology-based testing and limits of testing in ministerial contexts. Now, assessment in a changing world. Let me just start by saying psychological assessment is evolving rapidly in response to technology, culture, and context. Traditional paper and pencil tools are increasingly being replaced or supplemented by digital platforms. At the same time, new environments such as ministry and pastoral care raise important questions. What are those questions? Can psychological tests fully capture spiritual and relational realities? Number two, what are the ethical limits of using assessment tools in ministry? What are the ethical limits? So, looking at the technological-based testing. Technology-based testing refers to the use of digital platform for administering, scoring, and interpreting psychological assessment. Forms of technological-based, let me give you some forms of them. Computerized assessment, online self-reporting, and inventory. If you Google it right now, a lot will pop out for you. A lot will pop out for you. Mobile app-based screening tools. You can download it on your phone and have it there. AI-assisted scoring and interpretation. You can do that, spontaneously. Okay, those are different forms. The advantages of technological-based testing, they are efficient and accessibility. Immediate scoring and you get your feedback. Remote access. Clients can complete assessment anywhere. Another thing is standardization. It reduces administrator bias. It ensures consistent administration. Number three, data integration. Easy storage and longitudinal tracking. Integration with electronic health record. That can happen. Data integration. And of course, enhanced engagement. Interactive interface, may improve users' participation. These are advantages of using technological base. Of course, limitations and risk are there. You won't have human interaction. Nobody will, just deal with the system. Then digital divides. Not all clients have equal access to technology. Some people have access, but they can't use it. Socioeconomic and age-related disparity. Some old clients may not be able to use the technological-based, psychological assessment model. Another one is privacy and confidential concern. Your information are not safe online. Anybody can grab them, even without your consent. Okay? There's a risk of data breach and ethical responsibility for data protection. Nobody can guarantee that when you use digital platform. Over reliance on automation interpretation. You will rely on computer to interpret whatever you get. So algorithm cannot even fully replace clinical judgment. I can tell you that. I have a client who told me many times ago that if anything is wrong with me, I asked AI, and AI will generate it. AI cannot be like human. Okay. There's also a risk of misinterpretation without professional oversight. Nobody is monitoring it, nobody's looking for it. Okay. And validity concern is a big concern for using technological platform. Distraction, or lack of supervision may affect responses. That's why we need to be very, very careful when we are using that. What are the ethical considerations? What are the ethical considerations? The key principle is, like we have said earlier, is informed consent, confidentiality and data security, competence in using digital tools, and appropriate interpretation of results. Those are clinical issues there. Okay. The critical question is, who is responsible when an automated system produces a flawed interpretation? Who is responsible? Now, let's look at the limits of testing in ministerial context. In ministry, psychological assessment must be approached with discernment and caution. Okay? We need to be careful of reductionism. Tests may reduce complex human beings to scores and categories, while we are neglecting spiritual life, moral development, cultural faith context. Number two, role confusion. Okay, clergy are not always clinically trained psychologists. So misuse of tests can lead to misdiagnosis, overstepping professional boundaries. All right. Another one is spiritual or psychological issues. Not all struggles are psychological. Some are spiritual crises. Some are moral dilemmas. And some are existential questions. So assessment tools may not adequately address these dimensions: spiritual, moral, existential. So when assessment can be helpful in ministry, despite limitations, assessment tool can be useful when applied appropriately. The appropriate use includes enhancing self-awareness, supporting premarital counseling, identifying general personality pattern, guiding referrals to mental health professional. Okay. And, the best practice, use assessment as conversation starter, not final authority. When to avoid or limit testing ministry, avoid when the issue requires clinical diagnosis. When ministers lack proper training. When the tool is culturally inappropriate. And when confidentiality cannot be guaranteed. Do not harm spiritually, psychologically, and relationally. This is very, very important. And of course, in integration, effective ministry requires integration, psychological insight, evidence-based tool, understanding behavioral personality, and pastoral wisdom. So you are combining the two together: spiritual discernment, empathy, and relational presence, and theological grounding. This is very, very important. The balance is that, testing informs, but discernment guides. The future direction in assessment, looking ahead, increased use of AI and machine learning. Can look into that. Personalized and adaptive testing, we can look into that. Greater emphasis on multicultural validity, we can use to that. Ethical framework for digital practice, we can look into that. The challenge here is that how do we embrace innovation without losing the human and spiritual dimension? In conclusion, psychological assessment is a valuable tool, but it has limits. In ministry and in counseling, people are more than profiles. Data must be interpreted with wisdom, and technology must serve, not replace human care, because the goal is not merely accurate assessment, but holistic understanding and transformation. I hope this helped someone listening to this out there. So please take time to revert back to your test for this week and see what you can take away from there. And if you have any question, please let me know. I will provide answers to that. Until I talk to you again